This is Hardy Brute with another run of Novems. Last time we revisited the Alchemy deck, found some pretty wild links. And today I'd like to go back to the Art of the War, and there's a certain leader I'd like to play. So we did focus on the double trigger leader, and the no link leader, but today we're going to do the damage leader. At the start of the battle, the cards in the front row, 1, 2, 3, will get ×3 damage. And the cards in the back, 7, 8, 9, will lose 100% damage. So we're going to have a big bursty front row, and a supportive backline. And the game also had an update not too long ago, which added a 4th deck, so the next time we play, we'll be playing a bunch of new links, and checking out some brand new cards, so I'm very excited for that. I have an idea for the cards I want in the front row, but I'm still going to show off links, or pick cards that we haven't seen before. So my team could change in the end. But currently we need 2 more Mace Knights, and 3 more Heavy Knights, to create a 5-link. So we have enough damage to one-shot any card we attack, so our team is pretty strong, even though they all only started with 10 damage. So we found another Heavy, which is perfect because we need 3 of those, and 2 of the Maces. The Twin Blades could be a good addition, but triple their damage up to 9 is still not that great, even though they double attack. Their strength is much more about scaling damage every single time they attack, which wouldn't really be affected by the ×3 damage. The Heavy's ability is that it counterattacks, and the Mace Knight survives with 1 HP. So I'm really interested to see what kind of link they're going to make. I imagine it's going to be some sort of tank just from the 2 abilities we've seen, but it should carry us to mid-game, where we can transition somewhere else. So his Golem protected, his Skeleton Boy revived, and he had 2 buffing attackers on the left side and a healer in the middle. But the healer doesn't matter if we one-shot them, so 30 damage was still too much for him to handle. Got the Royal Guard Knight, which still makes my favorite link in the game. It's also got a double link with itself, and it gives 5 damage to all the cards around it, per card around it. But that isn't an uncommon card, so we got pretty lucky finding it. And we actually found a second one. That is really good too. The 2 link here is red, so we can't have both the 5 and the 2 link. But I like its 3 link better anyways, and you can put that anywhere on the board. Its 3 link will just buff our attack, our health, and cleanse our poison. Another pretty strong link is the Lone Knight, which only link is with itself in spot 4 and 6, and it buffs its current ability, so it'll triple its damage and health if there's less cards on your side of the field compared to the enemy. But I love filling out the board with cards, so I probably won't play with that link. But having found 2 Royal Guards, their link gives 10 damage and 10 health to adjacent cards for each adjacent card. So I'll be giving 20 damage and 20 life to the cards next to them. It's got a much higher base stats as well, 20/40s, which in turn buffs the leader up to a 20/40. Triple that, it's up to 60 damage in the front row. And all of these cards only have around 30 health, so we'll one-shot all of them. And the leader's actually up to 135, 65. From the buff, which happens first, and then the triple damage. But he's not going to stay in the front row, because he just has a basic attack. But he will definitely carry us. Could buy another Royal Knight. It's a decent card on its own, and it's just going to give us even more damage. So might as well invest our money somewhere. And continue to roll. I also like the Corpse Soldier link a lot, but we've already seen that one before. And we found Maces and Heavies. This is perfect. This is exactly what we wanted. This will complete our 5 link. And hopefully that'll carry us into purple cards, so we can buy both of those next turn. So let's just move on, so we can complete that link next time. So his build is kind of crazy, but not in a good way. He's got 2 golems, which will take the damage first. He had 1 protector, and 1 card that only scales, I think, 10 damage per turn. So his scaling was very bad. But I am not complaining. So let's buy the Mace and the Heavy. We'll lose the Royal Knight link, but we're looking for the Golden Priestess anyways. So let's drop in the link. 20 damage, 130 life. It'll survive with 1 HP, and it protects the cards behind it for the next 2 rows. Which is okay. Wouldn't say I love the combination, but it does sort of fit our team, because we'll have 3 buffers in the back row. They'll lose all of their damage, but then slowly get it back. They'll also give some damage to the cards in front of them as well. The Paladin also has some links that we haven't seen before, but I think that's a bit too far away from what we're going with right now. And something I found very, very cool is when you have a triple no-link, it actually buffs their effects and abilities as well. So instead of giving only +5 to the cards around them, it improves to +7. And of course their base stats get better. So that really inspired me to try something crazy with the no-link build. But then I learned that the 3 links still counted as a link, even though they're not officially connected. The enemy also had a link I hadn't seen before, the Purgatory Warlord, which has the same effect as the basic card, but just a stronger effect. Their damage is usually ×2, but then the link makes it a ×3. So that's pretty interesting. But I like our team quite a bit right now. We're definitely going to transition completely away from this though. The Uncommon Battle Axe has some links that we haven't seen before, but I'd much prefer getting a purple and working backwards towards a link, then collecting a bunch of uncommons, and trying to get the rarest card in the end. So I think our mana is better spent just rolling a bunch and hoping we get something good, because our team is pretty solid right now. And each round, it does feel like the chance of getting purples, getting legendaries, increases. We also get another roll, another extra mana each round. But we're in no rush to transition. We should be pretty safe up to around fight 8. And before that, I think our stats will just carry us, because we have a lot of health here. His main threat is the Explosive Lizard in the corner, which will do 20 damage to all cards when it's defeated. The Ice Fox in the middle gives 30 health to adjacent cards, but only at the start. And the rest of his cards were pretty bad. But hopefully we can get some purples here, maybe some blues. The go-to card we're looking for is the Dragon Armor. Get a triple link in the top row, and that's going to be our carry. But so far we've only found commons, some uncommons, things we've already seen the links to or tried before. So we got pretty unlucky here. But hopefully our team is still strong enough to carry us through. And he's got a very strong link in the top row. The Thunder God on the left attacks a column and stuns. The Wind God on the right attacks 5 times for 15 damage. His Pain Demon's going to scale damage every single time he is damaged, and the Paladin's going to be giving them life. So this could be pretty close. I think we had enough life, but I don't think we had enough damage here, because our Royal Guards only give the damage at the start of battle. They don't continuously scale. So yeah, we got destroyed here. But we got 2 more tries, and hopefully we'll get some good cards here. We did get our Golden Priestess though. So we get my favorite link, the Knight of Durandal. She's only got 30 damage to lose, but then she buffs all of our cards by 30 damage, gives them 30 health, and cleanses all the poison 3 times. So in the end, all of our cards in the field will have at least 90 damage. And that should carry us, because that's a very strong link. Because then we'll have damage and life, and hopefully we get a purple or a blue, something to get rid of this 5 link that I'm not the biggest fan of. It's kind of just a big tank wall, which might actually fit the build if it was reversed and protected the top row, so that we could put some glass cannons up there. That'd be pretty cool. But let's move on. This is a different fight. He still has a Pain Demon, still has a Golem. The Trick Ghost flips damage and health. So now his Crushing Swamp has 100 damage, and he attacks a row, wow. But I think flipping their damage and health did more damage than actually helped him. He did destroy our top row though. And so that was fight 7 of 10. Our new link is very strong, but it's not going to protect us from fight 10 or onwards. So we'll be looking for some better cards. Like this legendary. At the start of turn, surrounding cards will gain damage based on number of victories, and then it doubles that effect at the end of the turn. So I wouldn't say this is the best legendary ever, or that it even fits our endgame team, but it is definitely better than our Giga Fortress at the moment. especially if we cannot find any purples or blues. But an 80, 250, that's also going to buff our leader quite a bit. And we got a second one. Nice. At least we'll be scaling extremely hard if we survive. And with 250 health, we should survive. So let's drop them in on either side of our leader. With the legendaries who don't have links, they also don't create a pseudo-link between themselves. But let's keep the heavy infantry, so we can create their pseudo-link. Give them 20 damage and 60 health. They're the best we got so far. We did get a purple. 45, 170, and we've seen both links of those. It's a decent card. He steals the range of buffs and puts them on himself, which would actually kind of screw over our team. Because we're trying to buff the entire front row, and also buff our entire team. I also think I should put these cards in the front, just so we get priority. So they can attack faster and hopefully take things out. But he's got 3 Thunder Slashers that all do a triple attack. His entire team is protected for the first hit. And the Creeping Curse is going to give 60 damage to his entire team after turn 1. So he has potential to be very dangerous. And some of the cards actually got a 120 buff. But that's because of the Dark Enchanter, who increases the buff, specifically attack buffs, by 100%. So that fight had potential to be very scary, especially if we can take out the triple attackers. But we beat fight 8 of 10, and now the fights are going to be much harder. That fight was already pretty hard, but we found 2 legendaries, and have 1 really good link. And we played with a Bloodstained formation in our No Links video. His base damage is also only 10. Same thing with this Massacre Tyrant. They are both solid cards that attack in a column, but their base damage is only 10. So tripling their damage isn't going to have a huge effect. But the Dark Strategist, this is actually a key card that fits the build. It's a legendary card, which will only affect the front row, but it'll give it 50% increased health and damage gain from buffs, which is massive and fits our team perfectly. So it'll increase the ×3 multiplier up to ×4.5. And for best in slot, I might even want 5 of those, which is probably never going to happen. But it would make the ×3 buff insane. But we got our first Dragon Armor. It's got a double link and a triple link. So this one definitely fits the team because we're looking for the triple link of that one. That's going to be our front row monster. The Dragon Armor on its own is an insane card. It gains life and damage, but it's also got a 30% chance to just die on its own. So hopefully its triple or double link doesn't keep that effect. The damage of our front row was already up to 300. His strongest card, the Poison Eater, poisons all cards for 10 whenever he is damaged. But because we cleanse the poison, it's actually hurting him a lot more than us. And our damage is up to almost 500. So that was fight 9 of 10. The next fight is usually against the Dragon Soul, and he destroys me most times. So I'm not sure we're going to beat him on the first try. So let's buy the Dragon Armor. And also maybe the Commander, because his link is also pretty good. He buffs all adjacent cards for the number of links you have. But currently we only have 1 link, and he would be the second link with maybe a third in the top. So because we're playing with so many legendaries at the moment, I don't think I actually will buy him. It's a lot more important to get the Dragon Armors online. And just like that, we found our second one. So we would like a third, but there's also a link with 2. That would probably benefit our team. Definitely better than a couple of commons. A 30, 195. He attacks in a column and does a double attack. He also destroys barriers. So that is a massive improvement from what we had. The dragon in the front is going to get most of the buffs, the ×3 damage. And if we put our 2 buffers next to them, they'll both be getting buffed, but the one in the front should be a lot stronger. But we still got some rolls, so hopefully we get a second dragon. The Sephram heals the row when he's damaged. It's an okay card. We're more about damage than staying alive at this point. So, a bunch of commons and uncommons. None of these ones. And we did get our final dragon with just enough mana to buy it. Nice. And I think I might get rid of some of the unbeaten knights. But let's see what the link is first. The link has to be in the front row, but that also means it has priority. It's a double attacker, attacks through barriers and destroys them. And he also loses 100 health at the end of the turn, which won't be an issue if there is no second or third turn, which is my goal. So he's going to have a ×3 attack, make that buff 50% better, so 4.5 times. He's also going to be getting 30 damage per turn from Durandal, and a scaling buff from our unbeaten knight. So let's see how big their damage will get. The enemy has 7 triple attackers, a creeping curse, and a unicorn to heal them. But our dragon is already up to 455 damage, he's down to 3 cards, and we just got hit with the takeaway 100 health, which didn't even affect us. The 50% buff was also affecting our Durandal, so our dragon was getting 45 health and 45 damage per round, and that's pretty cool. So let's go on to the boss battles. I think the only thing that can actually make this better is getting more of those Dark Strategists. So we're going to be doing a lot of rolling pretty quickly, and hopefully we'll get lucky. Wow, we got a second one. So now the buff in the front row is going to be 100% damage and 100% health, making the Durandal buff 60 damage and 60 health per turn, and making the ×3 up to ×6 damage in the front row. And that is just massive. And hopefully we can find even more of those. Make the buff even bigger. Make the dragon have like 1,000 double attack. That would be really cool. We did get a legendary. This is a self-buffing legendary. He heals for the damage that he does. If he has more than 300 health, he loses 100 health and gains 100 damage. It's a pretty cool card, but he doesn't really fit the build. So let's check the damage now. Last time we were at 455, this time we're at 456. We didn't really gain too much. I think the order of operations, the ×3 buff, is happening before the 100% buff gains. Even though all 3 of those cards say at the start of battle. And if anything, the priority, since it's in this position 3 and then 4, the buff should happen first. And then the damage buff. But I don't believe that's working properly. The 100% buff is still affecting our Durandal. So we are getting 60 damage from her buff. And that's why we had 456 at the start of the battle, before we even lost the 100 health. So our starting buff is stronger than it was, but it's not as strong as it should be. Because 6 times the 99 damage, plus the 60 damage afterwards is 654. But if you had 60 damage to the base, 159 times 6 would be around 954 damage. But the trigger order is a bit wonky. But if the game did take priority into consideration with triggers, this would guarantee that 954. But it is what it is. 456 with a double attack is still very strong. And this boss fight is actually very unique. The Trickster's Ghost will switch the damage and attack of the cards around it, and when the Onis have less than 50 health, they'll triple the damage of the cards above them. And so it makes for some huge stats at 3000 attack. But all they had were basic attacks. But I thought this fight was awesome just from the mechanics. So let's go on to the final fight and see if our team can win. A massively boosted double attacker. The enemy has 3 cards that'll get 1 shot. And his middle card will be 2 tapped. And his team was awful against a bursty build, which is what we were. So we got an easy victory, became a true champion, but I'd still like to show off a couple more links. But the banner commander link that I had mentioned earlier, triple banners become the victory commander. At the start of the turn, ×2 damage to all cards, based on how many links you have. His middle card gives 80 health to all cards, if it's surrounded by 8 other cards. And his right side does the same as the left. But another link that I was curious about was requiring 2 Samurai Lords, plus the Wandering Samurai. And let's see what this link is. Creates the Peerless Warrior. At the start of the turn, plus 20 damage and plus 20 health, times the turn number. And all 3 cards do the same thing, but that is a pretty strong effect. I actually like this one probably the best. So I hope you enjoyed. If you'd like to see more, let me know. But I loved playing new links, checking out some new things, and I hope you did too. So I'll see you later.